Hi, this is Lori, and this is a series of videos around a game called Shut the Box. I had a chance to play Shut the Box last Christmas. I really enjoyed playing, so I made a plan that I would 3D print my own game tray. And as I did that this summer, I thought to myself, it'd be neat if I had a Python program to test out various strategies in playing the game. And so I went ahead and programmed it in Python to play on my PC. And once I did that, I thought, oh, wouldn't it be even cooler yet if I programmed this game so we could play it on a Raspberry Pi Pico and, add a display and some buttons for user input and make it a very portable game that you could take anywhere in your pocket. So that's how these series of videos came to be. Now it's fall, and I'm finally getting a chance to finish this project. There'll be 3 videos in this series. In the first video, we'll cover how to play the game and how to 3D print a game tray. Then in part 2, we'll learn how to code the game in Python so that we can play it on our PC. And then in part 3, we're going to convert that to MicroPython so that we can play the game using a Raspberry Pi Pico. And to make this pretty simple, we're going to use the Pico Display Pack by Pimoroni. I've used this before. It's a really nice development board. You have a really nice color display, 4 buttons, and an RGB LED all built in. And you plug your Pico into the back to use it. And I really enjoy these. They're not terribly expensive, but if you want to do this, you can certainly adapt the code that I put together in part 3 if you had just a separate display and buttons to control the user input. So it's possible to do this as a breadboard project if you'd like to do that too. It's probably a small amount of adaptation. All right, let's get going. Well, here's a discussion of how to play Shut the Box. And you actually can. This is the game tray that I printed for this project, and it's a pub game where you roll dice, and you have these numbers 1 through 9, and these are the tiles here, and you can flip them up and down. And so as you roll the dice and you get a total, for example, we have a total of 9 here in the picture. Then we have to flip down tiles to match that number, match that sum. So in this case, I could pull down the 9 and I would be done, and I would roll again. I could also pull down the 1 and 8. We'll talk a little bit more about how rolls work. But we'll do that until we can't, we make a roll, and we don't have any tiles that will come to that total on our dice. And that'll be the end of the game. And so whatever tiles are left up, that's our score. And if you're playing with other people, then the person with the lowest score wins the game. On this slide, we'll just more carefully describe how to play a dice roll. So as long as there's a 7, 8, or 9 tile up, we have to roll 2 dice. So let's imagine we're here at the start and our first roll is a 7. We have all the tiles available to us, and so we can make a 7 however we want. We can use just the 7. We could use the 6 and 1, the 5 and 2, or the 3 and 4. Anything that will total up to 7. And we pull those down, flip them down, and then we roll again. And as I said, we roll 2 dice as long as there's a 7, 8, or 9 tile still available. Once we get to 6 or less, being the only tiles left, then we can choose to roll only 1. But we can still roll 2 if we want to. It's up to us what we want to do. And I think the reason for that is that you might get to your last roll of the game and all that's left up is a 1. And you can't possibly win if you're rolling 2. So you can choose to just roll 1. And that's kind of part of the strategy, is to think through a little bit about whether you should roll 2 or roll 1 in situations like that. And if you're lucky enough to be able to pull all the tiles down with your dice rolls, that's called shutting the box. All right, this is the tray that I ended up printing. I really like this tray and the design of this tray, and I've included the link for this on Thingiverse, and I'll put that in the description underneath the video here. I really liked that it was the numbers and the tiles and the tray were all separate files, because then you could print them in different colors, especially even if you don't have a printer that can do multiple colors. You can still do this in multiple colors and make it kind of cool. And even though I have a printer, I happen to have a Bamboo X1 Carbon, and I can print in multiple colors, but when you do that, you can waste a lot of PLA. So I tend to avoid prints that do that as much as possible. So I used this one, thought it was a great design, but I made a couple of adjustments after I made my first version of it. One is I increased the thickness of the letters, so I moved them from 1 millimeter thick to 1.5 millimeters thick. And I also made the tiles here, the width of the tiles, just a half a millimeter more to make them fit a little more tightly in the tray, and so that they would flip up and down nicely. So that was the changes I made. And as I said, I printed this on an X1 Carbon. I used a PLA Plus. I happen to use Overture. That's one of my favorite brands of filament, with a standard nozzle, and I didn't make any changes to the generic profile for PLA in a Bamboo. So it printed pretty easily, and I didn't have any issues with it. No supports, nothing like that. So it was an easy print and came out really well. I'll share a little bit about how I put it all together. Just glued the numbers onto the tiles. I used a post-it note flag here to kind of mark where I wanted the tiles to start at, the number to start on the tile, I should say. And I used a kind of super glue at first, but in subsequent versions, I just used a model, plastic model cement. It seemed to work a little bit better. So that went pretty smoothly and pretty easy to do. Then you have to snap these in. Now I made them a little wider so there is a firm snap when you do it. But once they get in there, they're not going to come out, and they're in there a little bit firmly. And you can kind of see the little holes, the indentions that are here. And you can see the little knobs that are on the tiles here that stick into those holes. And that's what I think was really nice about this design. Some of the other designs I saw out there, had some kind of a rod that these were attached to, and that just seemed a little challenging, either to find something that was the right diameter, or in one case I think he even printed them, but this was much simpler with it just snapping in into the little slot there. So I really like that design, and it worked pretty well. And then I added the felt to the tray. One, it adds a lot of color, and two, when you roll the dice, it dampens the sound of the dice hitting the plastic. So you can add color, kind of to match maybe your numbers here, and you can make them look pretty snazzy. And I'm planning on giving this as Christmas presents to a lot of folks in my family, and this way I can make these trays in colors that I know they enjoy, and they'll be great presents. Oh, here's the final tray. I'll just bring it up a little bit so you can take a look, and you can see that these flip up and down pretty easily. A little wiggle, but I wouldn't go much thicker than what I did. These you have to kind of firmly snap them in. They don't come out. Here's the felt, the tray. Here's the back side of the tray. How it looks. So yeah, nice design. So you need a couple dice. So let's just play a quick game. We'll roll it. Got a 7. So I'll take the 7. I got a 9. And I typically try to get the higher numbers down as fast as I can. And now I got an 11. So let's take the 8 and the 3. So now I have a choice. I could roll 1 because I have less than 6, or I could roll 2. But with this many of the higher numbers up, I think I would roll 2. So let's see if I'm lucky. I got a 6. I'm going to go for 2 one more time here. All right, I got a 7. So now I have a 2 and a 5. Oh, this is a pretty good game. So now I think I'm going to roll 1. Well, I'm down to 4. Now I have to get a 4, so I'm going to roll. Well, I'm going to roll 1, and that's the end. I can't take care of that 4, so my score is 4. That concludes part 1, and I hope you'll join me for parts 2 and 3, where we take this game into the electronic world. As always, I want to thank you for watching.